Oh, he must need you to beat somebody up.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Guys, we are here on Monday night on the Coach Reed Live Show. And what you see, the laughter is Kerry Davis just made a ridiculous statement before we got on here. He just said that he was a hooper. Right?
Y'all better do some research. Y'all better ask.
Kerry, I've seen you play basketball.
Played AAU till I was 16.
Yeah, every athlete did, man. Keep going.
Yeah, every athlete is not capable though. Smoke.
Listen, first of all, Smoke, Kerry wasn't with us last week because he was at the NBA All-Star Weekend. So we're gonna give him an opportunity to recap on his weekend at NBA All-Star. How was it, my brother?
San Francisco was great, man. The event, the weekend was great. Me and my son went out there, got an opportunity to do some of the events that they had around the city. Got to go to a breakfast with a couple of current NBA players, some former NBA players. Bill Cartwright was speaking, Festus Ezeli. And I took my son, man. I wanted him to be around people that have had success. It's one thing when dad is talking and he's like, oh, you need to work hard. You need to do this if you plan on being successful. But it's another thing when you hear the same message from people in different sports, from different walks of life, black, white, rich, poor, however you grew up, the work is the work. And if you're not willing to do that, don't expect to be successful. And that's not just in sports, that's in life. So, I think it was fun to have him go out there and partake in those events and see those people and listen to those conversations, because one thing is clear, man, the message was the same throughout every person that was speaking, whether it was Mason Plumlee or, like I said, Bill Cartwright, Festus Ezeli. Like every single one of those guys talked about how much work they had to put in when we were at that breakfast. And it's important. Like if you're not going to work, you're not going to eat. And don't look for nobody else to come save you, man. You got to put in the work. You got to grind. You got to exhaust yourself. And if you plan on making it to the next level, whether that's from high school to college to pros, bro, you got to be one of the hardest workers that you know, and even one of the hardest workers that you don't know. So for me, that's what that whole weekend was about. And then we got to enjoy the All-Star game. People was mad about the format. I thought it was different. I thought it was I thought the concept of what they were trying to do was good. But, it ain't never going to be really good unless the players actually play hard. And, football, they have taken away the Pro Bowl because guys wasn't playing hard. They didn't want to get hurt. It's similar to what you see from the NBA All-Star game. Guys don't play as hard as they used to, so it's not as good of a product. But there was some times where there were some intense moments where guys were actually giving some effort defensively. So maybe they can build on that and grow on that. But it was a good weekend overall.
Smoke, is that fair to compare the NBA All-Star game to the NFL Pro Bowl?
No. Two totally different sports.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
you can really get injured in.
Yes.
You might turn an ankle in.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I think we're all looking at this All-Star game and not understanding that, like, back in the day, we weren't playing for life-changing money, Kerry. There are guys that can sign supermax contracts for $350 million.
Mm-hmm.
So you want me to come out there in a participation game and roll my ankle, tear my knee up, and I don't even get compensated properly for even participating in this game. Now, I think the other leagues, baseball, you can do that in baseball. You can play hard in baseball because the injury is not that high. But when you start talking about guys not playing hard in the All-Star game, we're missing something. If you want guys to play hard, Kerry, what do you got to do for it? Tell me one thing. There you go.
So I'll push back on that a little bit, Smoke, because I see guys, them guys go to UCLA every summer and hoop. And them guys give way more effort in the summertime playing basketball, whether that's a new contract on the horizon, whether that's a contract was just signed, whatever the case may be, them guys in the summer play their butts off.
Hard.
So
you know why, Kerry?
Because they are working their butts off.
No, because at some point we have to realize and think a little bit further than what's in the obvious eyes. They're protesting, man. They're telling you exactly what you're not doing that they want.
Which is what? Pay us more money?
Hey, the same way that you handle that in-season tournament, I guarantee if you put the same money towards the All-Star game, you'll see a different level of play.
Kerry, even when we talk about UCLA, because you're about the third or fourth person I've heard say, well, they play hard at UCLA. First of all, as somebody who's been to UCLA before and seen it, it's not the NBA All-Star team.
Right? Like, but you got NBA All-Stars there.
And that's like 5 or 4
you have a couple of them.
You got a handful of them.
And you got a bunch of dudes that's from like overseas and fringe guys trying to make teams.
And you got guys that are NBA players that are there as well. Some all-stars, some starters, some guys that are role players or bench players. I'm not saying that it's all NBA all-stars there, but I know that they are there. I know that some of them are there. I know some of them are $40-50 million players, and you know that. And they play harder there than they do in the All-Star game. So if you'll play harder,
that's a reach.
You said what's a reach?
There's only a couple of guys. Like, I mean, it's only a couple of guys. It's more guys at the Rucker in the summer that they used to play in the Rucker.
I haven't been there personally. I've seen the videos. My nephew was playing with them.
Your nephew's in high school. He's not an NBA All-Star.
And he's seen the guys that I'm telling you that are there.
But
when you're saying that they're not there,
it's not more than a handful.
And that's what I said. It's not, but they still play hard, do they not?
So what's the expectation in these? You want those guys? Like they said, well, in the 90s and the 80s, when those guys were making $600,000, when they were making $600,000.
It's not true.
Man, listen, bro.
Kobe Bryant got his nose broken in All-Star game.
I am not jeopardizing the ability to be a billionaire to please you. So if you don't want to put me in an All-Star game, solid. Listen, I get paid for the regular season and playoffs. And some of the regular
got his nose broken in the All-Star game. He was making $35-40 million that year, was he not?
Who?
Maybe that's why people don't want to do it anymore.
No, that ain't why. They just, in my opinion, man, I don't want to make it a.
Don't be old. Don't be an old guy. Don't be an old guy.
I don't want to be the old guy. I don't want to say if you grew up in the 80s, you might be tougher. You know what I'm saying? You might be a little bit more mentally tougher. You might be a little bit more willing to, do some things that if you was born in the 2000s, maybe
y'all better be careful when y'all saying this, and when y'all go in the weight room and y'all see them young boys throwing around steel that we used to max out with, they warming up with. Y'all better watch your mouths.
Okay, and listen, I stay in the weight room just for that reason.
Yeah, I saw your little picture the other day. I won't tell you.
Just in case.
I won't tell everybody what I said on your weight room picture.
But at the end of the day, these players are bigger, faster, more explosive, and as physical as we were.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, so the hockey player who said they're not playing hard enough, y'all agree with him?
Who said that?
PK
Subban.
Yeah.
Well, he's also looking at it from the Four Nations tournament where you got the best players in the world in hockey, and they playing their butts off. Now, with that being said, a guy like Matthew Tkachuk, who was one of the best players in the United States playing on Team Canada, plays for Florida Panthers, injured himself.
Oh,
potentially might miss 2 to 4 weeks, might miss the remainder of the regular season. You don't know. So
can I ask you a question, Kerry?
That's also a possibility. And
how much money? So that 4-team playoff in hockey, they registered some of the most viewers.
No question.
Almost close to a decade. How much money those guys make?
Who? The hockey players?
Yeah.
The highest hockey player. I mean, they make
no. In that tournament, how much they get paid to play?
I don't know how much they got paid for that tournament. I don't know.
They are playing for pride, though. Like it's
playing for their country.
Man, listen, pride. Is that why you play, Kerry?
I definitely played to. Man, listen. See, Smoke, you asking the wrong person. They paid me to play, but if it was no salary, I'd have still been out there.
By yourself.
So
you telling me right now,
if we didn't get paid to play football and that's what it was, and that's the highest level, I still would have played. You damn right. Now, they paid me to play.
All right, so I disagree with all you tough guys that say that. Listen,
that's your opinion, though.
In my opinion, but let me bring some light to it. Okay. You played in college because they paid for your
Education.
good. You played in high school to make sure that you can go to college for free. Good. You played in the NFL weekly so you can get
And smoke.
paid.
So
you tell me just hold tight. So you tell me at one point when you were playing football that your motivation wasn't cash.
My motivation was to inflict pain on the person across from me.
They go punch somebody in the face.
But why do I need to do that when I can hit you in the mouth?
And get?
I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed that aspect of football.
I'm gonna tell you what. Your son is glad you didn't play for free because he wouldn't have been at that All-Star game.
No question.
Thank you.
He is.
Thank you.
And so I went through it, so he ain't have to. 100%. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm not thankful for what football gave me. But if you ask me if you could make it to the highest level and they didn't pay a lot, what you think? So basically what you're saying is if you was born in the 60s, you wouldn't have played football.
No, they still got paid.
They didn't get paid what they getting paid now, Smoke.
Yeah, but they still got paid relatively.
They didn't get, if you was born in the 50s, you wouldn't have played football.
If we was born in the 50s or the 60s, none of us definitely would have been playing no football.
Oh, that's not true either. That was the 70s, and there was plenty of us playing football in the 70s.
Hey, man.
Born in the 50s.
You said 50s and 60s.
I said if you was born in the 50s and 60s, I mean by the time y'all, let me help y'all with math real quick because I know y'all just do football. If you're born in the 50s, that mean by the time you're in the 70s, you're in your 20s. Yeah. 1970s, which team was winning Super Bowl? Let me slide over so y'all can see it. Pittsburgh Steelers. They won a bunch of them. They had a lot of black people on their team. So y'all would have been on the team. And what y'all are telling me is neither one of y'all love football enough to play it for that amount of money. I'm sorry.
So can I ask you a question, Kerry? Okay, good. First of all, you would never do math for me because you don't like money. If you love money, you love math. All right, cool.
Oh, he likes money. Don't let him come in here and lie to the audience.
You're right. So Kerry, the equivalent to playing in a game at the fullback position is getting hit by a car repeatedly.
No, so
hold tight. I know it's old. So you would have let me run over your body with your equipment on with a Honda Civic 20 times for free?
I did it.
No, I'm asking you, would you let me do that?
Not a Honda Civic, Smoke, but a 185-pound man running into me?
No.
225-pound man running into me? No question.
It's a car wreck. It's a car wreck. It's a car wreck every single time.
Yeah.
But let me just go get the car and run into you for free. Would you let that happen?
And truthfully, probably. Let's see if I can withstand it. I'm telling you. Yeah. Straight like that.
Reed, he's trying to make a point. I get it.
I'm telling you.
He's not listening.
I played in the 70s. I would have not, and you don't get paid the amount of money you got paid in the 2000s. I still would have played football. If y'all would, that's fine.
I'm doing a little bit more careful.
No, you wouldn't, because if you love the game, you'd have played it because you wouldn't have known no better. You'd have played the game for what you was getting paid for, and you'd have shut your mouth, and you'd have been running into people from safety, corner, wherever you was at, trying to break up passes, trying to inflict pain, because that's what we do.
Not when they say, Smoke, you know what? Your next contract might be for $450. You just got to get through these 2 games. I'm going to get through these 2 games.
Smoke, I'm going to tell you what else he's not telling you.
Talk to me.
He got cars that Rick Ross asking for the car show. And he got cars, DJ Envy and Rick Ross.
Yeah, he
asking him to send his cars to the car show.
So the crazy thing is, Reed, and I always just say this about either the players that had money or the coaches that already got money. See, when you have that already, you're good. So you say, I'll do it for free. But when you are starving and hungry on the outside, you're saying, bro, I'm only doing it just to eat. But when you're eating good over there at the Davis house, you got steak, lobster, everything, filet mignon, you drinking the greatest wine. You can say all that because it's in the bank.
And it's a personal chef.
Ain't nobody got no personal chef. A lot of these people, man.
And I'm going to tell you what. I don't even remember the last time I saw him drive himself.
That's because he lived in Tennessee.
I'm telling you.
My man said I pay for free. You
He
got
was
it.
about to say, he ain't seen me drive because he ain't been in town.
Hey, I bet out. Hey, Smoke. It's a guy on the Instagram comments that say, "Stop pandering to these rich basketball players. We're not keeping it real."
Yeah, you remember when Dave Chappelle said keeping it real goes wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we understand. Like Russell Westbrook signed 2 supermax contracts.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he stayed healthy. Dwayne Wade beat his body up so much that he couldn't get what he wanted. If we remember, you remember Isaiah Thomas, little Isaiah, the one that played for the Celtics?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went hard, Kerry.
He
Hard.
did and got hurt.
And got hurt. And you know what he didn't get?
Didn't get paid.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
And I'd venture to make this point to you, Smoke. If he didn't play that way in his entire time, he would have never been in line to get that anyways. So what you're saying is it to me is counterproductive. If you're telling me if you dial it back a little bit and you don't play as hard as you normally do, or if you don't normally play that hard, then the things that you do well are the things that he did well were the things that were going to get him paid. Had he not been doing those things to begin with, you never have that conversation about getting paid.
Hey, Kerry, can I ask a question? Go ahead.
Real quick. Let me tell you this. You talking to a man who, looking back on it, would I have done it this way? No. I got my knee scoped on a Tuesday in college and played on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Was running on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on that, got a staph infection the following Tuesday. Looking back on it and missed more time. Looking back on it, probably the dumbest thing I could have done. In that moment, that's who I am. I play. I don't care about it. If I can walk, I can run. If I can run, I can play. Line it up. Straight up, line it up. If I can't, I'm not. But that's who I am. And that's how some people are wired, and they not wired no other way. So that's all they know. That's all they know. They know one speed. They know one way to play, and that's what they gonna do. And that's how they get paid. Because if they play in a different way, they're not going to be the best version of themselves, and they're not going to get paid. So it don't matter.
I should have been your agent because you wouldn't have played when you got out.
You couldn't have no agents in college at that time.
So you trying to tell me, Kerry, have you ever brother-in-law in a drill?
Oh yeah, and I've also gotten.
Oh,
listen, the brother-in-law in college, the brother-in-law wasn't my idea. But let me tell you something. In practice, and I know I got to go on Saturday. We're gonna brother-in-law until you turn the intensity up, and now I got to turn it up too.
It's the same thing in these all-star games. We're brother-in-law until we got to turn it up. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm not tough, but we all have to understand why we're out here. Right?
You got to explain what brother-in-law is in football terms, because you just put a term out there, and people are like, "What is that?" So tell them what brother-in-law is when we at practice.
Brother-in-law is this. We're going through a drill, and I'm going to look at Kerry, and Kerry's going to look at me and say, hey, Kerry, we're both going to pretend like we're going to go real hard against each other. We're going to run into each other and hurt a big smack like this. Bow! And then we're all going to say, ah! You're going to go hard for 2 seconds. I'm going to go hard for 2 seconds. You're going to twist. I'm going to twist. It's going to look real good. But we are taking care of each other.
No question.
But we're getting exactly what we need to do out of this drill. But the coach that's doing the drill does not know that. And the only two that understand what we're doing, Kerry and I.
No question.
That's it.
For you young people that are watching this, I want you to keep in mind that Smoke played in the SEC and Kerry played in the Big Ten. So I wouldn't recommend you go to high school practice and do that. You still got work to do.
That in high school.
We're not doing that in high school. But when you have 3 days and you're in the league and you're trying to make sure that I get to Sunday, I'm not going to beat myself up on Friday or Saturday. You have to be able to know. And really, you know what, Kerry, what we're doing? We're saying it's brother-in-law, but before we had different tempos. Like now that you're going to practices, you have different tempos. You have tag off tempo where you just run and just tag off on the backside of the hip, make sure you have a good angle. You had the thud tempo where you just go set your pads, let them go and let you run through if you're running back. Then you have tackle down to the ground tempo. We never had that. So we had to create a tempo that was conducive for our own health and look out for each other, because it made no sense for me to bang on you all day long, and then I need you in the game on Saturday if we're playing college, or Sunday in the NFL to come on and perform. So that's just a known unknown.
And most teams don't even
take care of
practice in pads anymore.
No.
Most teams,
That's why they can't tackle.
yeah,
That's
they
right.
never put on. They never put on
No, I think tackling is more want to, and you have to learn how to. I don't think you have to
get reps tackling, in my opinion. Like if you don't
Yeah.
rep it, you're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, non-athletes have to learn how to do that. I can take anybody down to the ground. But you have to learn how to get your body in position, and you don't necessarily have to tackle down to the ground in order to learn how to tackle. Tackling is a lot of want to, Kerry.
When you hear the coach say live to the ground,
man, come on, dude. I'm better than that. I'm gonna look at that receiver and say, hey, listen, bro, I'm gonna come in press, run me off. I don't got nothing to do with that.
Hey, we got this comment right here. Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame was out there playing on one leg in the playoffs, trucking dudes on Georgia just to advance in the playoffs. I think that, Grizz, when you make this statement, I think that you kind of prove what they're saying. This was a game that he was trying to win a national championship.
Yeah, different.
This was not, if this was an all-star game, if this was the Senior Bowl, if there was something, he wouldn't have been participating in that. This is somebody trying to win a championship.
Yeah, different level and different tempo.
But we're also talking about two different sports, man.
Right.
Like football is a collision sport. You're gonna run into people, like you said, it's like a car wreck. Depending on the position you play. You play linebacker, you play fullback, line up 10 yards apart and see who is the biggest man to get the man from move him from one spot to another.
We got a good question here, Smoke. I'm gonna let you break this down. Jennifer on our Instagram page says, how can you perfect tackling without pads?
Taking proper angles, understanding what a near leg, near shoulder looks like, and being able to simulate that with agile bags and dummies. That you're practicing taking a bag down to the ground and going through the full entire motion of getting your hips through, accelerating your feet, running your feet on contact until the defender is in the ground, but you're not going against another person, which is now causing more impact and a higher percentage of injuries because it's 2-on-2.
And I'll tell you this: my entire time I was at Luther North as the head coach, we didn't practice in pads one time. The entire once the season started, we didn't practice in pads at all. We were in shorts and helmets pretty much every day. We might have done uppers once, week of big games just to put some tension on the shoulders for the offensive line. I recommend anybody who has this question though to watch. Pete Carroll has a video on rugby.
Seahawks, yes.
The old Seahawks video. I would recommend anybody to watch that because that's what we did. We did the Seahawks tackling circuit without pads, and we were a great tackling team. And I think that's what people are looking at.
And when you talk about tackling, Reed, you become a better tackler by not going to the ground every single time because it forces you now to get your body in the right position to finish and run through. If you're talking about tagging on the backside of the hip, it's forcing you now to get your eyes and your hips and your hands all the way to the runner to tag off properly. And whatever coaching buzzwords that your coach uses to finish that tackle, that's repeated to you every single time. And the number one thing that you want to do, Kerry, is stay off the ground. We know that.
Stay off the ground.
Football and good football players aren't on the ground unless it's live impact time to go down to the ground. So stay off the ground and stay up.
Be an athlete.
So
there you go.
I want to shift gears a little bit to let's talk college football playoffs. And there's been a lot of complaining about the teams. And it seems like the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to change the format a little bit to ensure that there's 4 teams apiece from each league. Do the Big Ten, I'm going to start with you on this, Kerry. Do the Big Ten and the SEC deserve every year to have an automatic 4 teams in the playoffs?
I mean, I think if you take care of your business, you will. You'll have those teams in there. I don't know if you deserve to automatically. I mean, you saying that's 8 teams, so you're going to give 4 other bids to just 4 other teams? You know what I mean? Like, what if Notre Dame is more than likely going to always be in that mix? You're going to have an ACC team that probably deserves to be in that mix. So, and then maybe a Big 12 team. Like you have to you have to look at these other conferences, and you can't assume just because you're in this conference and they're in that conference. Arizona State probably should have beat Texas, right? We're looking at that game. They probably should have won. You got your face frowned up. You disagree?
Yeah, because it didn't happen. Keep going.
Should have. Let's not.
But what I'm saying is they played them close enough to where you can't just say that Texas deserved to be in there over Arizona State because of the conference that they're in. They almost beat them. They took them down to the wire and had an opportunity to win that game. So this notion that, oh, you're in the Big Ten or you're in the SEC, you automatically deserve to be in. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. If you are, and it just is that way. Football is that way. Unless you're playing one of the better teams, you one of the better teams, and you playing against, one of the worst teams in the country, that should not happen. But when you're playing equally, teams that are equal on the same level, again, Arizona State, Texas, that day, anything could have taken place. And so if you're telling me that, well, Arizona State doesn't deserve to get in because we got to put 8 teams from the Big Ten and the SEC in there, so this team is going to be on the outside looking in. This was the reason for having the college football playoff, to have those upsets, to have the potential of those upsets.
No.
So, yeah.
No, the real reason, that's what they want you to believe. And I'm going to answer your question, and I'm going to answer his question for the real reason is to get more SEC and Big Ten teams in the playoff. That was the real reason of having the first 12-team playoffs. Because if you look at it in the last whatever years, whenever we had the top 4 carry, the top 10 of the 12 teams that was in there was represented from the Big 12, the Big 10 and the SEC. So when you look at it that way, that's what you want to get in. When you're doing TV contracts, like the SEC and Big 10 have the biggest ones. So that's who we want to see play. Like, you're not paying all that money to go see Boise and Arizona State and Iowa State in the college football playoffs. And when you're playing a 9-game interconference season, like conference games, like the Big Ten has been playing for the last 10 years, that the SEC has not. That's why I believe the Big Ten has a lot to say, because they actually did the 9 games in conference games. When you do that, you're now creating one more game where you can take an L playing against one of those better teams. And I'm not saying that Arizona State did not deserve the opportunity to play against Texas, but when you're not playing against a top 5 schedule all year like Oklahoma had to do last year, you're not coming away every single week playing against the best of the best like you would if you're playing the SEC or the Big Ten. Now, when you get those 4 automatic bids, this is what I believe is going to happen, Reed. And coaches, once you get anything, you're always trying to bend those rules. So if I know that the top 2 teams get automatic bids into the playoffs and 3 and 4 got to figure it out somewhere down, week 10 and 11, I'm sitting down my best players. And I'm not playing. I don't even care about a championship game because I know I have an automatic bid already.
Yeah, so you're using an NFL playoff strategy.
Right. You're devaluing a conference championship because who cares anymore? Because you're in. And now you're devaluing what rivalry games are, because that's when we usually play the second to last game of the season, right, Kerry?
Last game of the year for some. Yeah,
I ain't playing that. My best players aren't going to play in a rival game that might get them hurt. And now instead of having the opportunity to win a national championship, my best player is out for the national championship. So you're losing the biggest audience for the most 2 important games to the fans, the conference championship and a rivalry game, when you have those automatic bids. Now, if they create some way where it can be more competitive, awesome. But at the end of the day, you're taking away what we really want to see, Kerry. And you said it earlier. And I know I was poking at you earlier, but we want to see competitive football.
Correct.
And as long as college football is they're trying to get it right, they're getting it worse and getting it more wrong, because they're trying to correct something that wasn't really an issue. But when you create more games during the regular season, you're devaluing the regular season, because all we're getting ready for is the playoffs. We have that product already out right now, Reed. It's called the NBA. No one wants to watch it until it gets to the playoff. And college is getting close.
Well, but this is my question for you. What about the best group of 5 team in the country. They don't belong in the playoffs anymore.
I mean,
Have you seen enough of that already?
Yeah, I'm good on that. They can get in the best New Year's Day bowl game. Put them in that. But I don't want to see I don't want to see a one-sided game where there's one player versus an NFL roster. I mean, it seems fun, but at the end of the day, it's not even truly competitive. And I know that Boise came back at the end of the game to make it competitive, but for the most part, mollywop session, beat down.
They said, well, Kerry said that the running back from Boise was as good as Barry Sanders, so we definitely want to see him.
Nah, he ain't never said that. He ain't never said that.
Don't. Yeah, thank you.
He ain't never said that.
Never said that.
Not even close.
Never said that, sir.
Knock it off.
Nah.
Nasty work. Nasty.
That was awful. Smoke, I'm glad you on here, man. He done ran with that lie, boy. At the end of time.
Hey, listen, if I would have clip it and everything and run it on social.
Oh my god.
Hey, Kerry, you saw what I said to him the other day in the group chat, right?
What's that?
All he wants to do is trigger me, bro.
Oh yeah.
All he want to do is trigger me. So I cut him out. I said, I'm done talking to you.
That's all he want to do.
Yeah, trigger me. That's all you want to do. You want to poke it.
You want to be triggered. All right, we're going to talk about trigger. I think, Smoke, that the SEC and the Big Ten should still have to prove. Why does the 4th team in the SEC or the Big Ten deserve to be in the playoffs over the best group of 5 team or the ACC champion or the Big 12 champion or maybe even the second best team in the Big 12 or ACC?
Because I'm playing a 9-game conference schedule. In that 9-game conference schedule, just say for the let's go with Big Ten, Kerry, and say that Ohio State has to play Michigan, Indiana, Oregon, and say SC is rolling again. SC. Then they might have a week off and say they play against Michigan State. But then the Big Ten is up that year. So they have 7 teams that are in the top 25. And on that one schedule, you got to play all 7 of them.
Right.
I think that if you take an L and you're a 9-3 Big Ten team, that you should get in over a 11-1 group of 5 team because of who you play. I think strength of schedule matters. Who you play matters. Who you beat matters.
What are we using to judge who's the best team though? Is it just the eye test? Are we using recruiting rankings? How are we determining that? Without playing the games.
I think the committee, they're going to use the AP poll, the coaches poll, and also what they have with the committee, just to sit in a room and just create that formula to say who are the best teams. And eye test will tell you that too. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not knocking SMU, but SMU walks into and you drop them in the Big Ten. Yeah, we saw what happened. No dice.
But
they'll be down there. Go ahead.
Here's my issue with the eye test.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in that room watching them games don't know football.
True.
Everybody doesn't really don't really know what they're looking at.
Right.
So who eyes are we going off of?
And that's why I'm saying the strength of schedule, and you can use the AP formula, the coaches formula, where they rank. If you wanted the teams that they beat statistically, what was that win margin by? There's a lot of formula that a lot of those really bright people in the room that you say don't know football, they can use some type of formula to come up with that. Strength of schedule is easy for me to read. If you're playing against peons and you run against peons, you should beat peons.
It's easy for you, though. You played in the SEC. You played in the NFL. You've worked in the NFL. You worked in – it's not easy for – we talking about the average person that watches football here. We're not talking about –
all right. So, Reed, if I said, okay, I just gave you the Michigan schedule, and I just said, okay, well, Tulane plays against Army, Navy, Idaho State, North Texas, Sam Houston State, and Valdosta State.
If you play Army and Navy, you in.
Well, that's the formula that Notre Dame uses. So, yes, you're right.
You play Army and Navy. Yeah. Long live the wing, too.
But I'm just saying there's ways to get it right. And I don't think every year that we increase it to 16 or 18, or by the end of it, we're going to have 24. yeah, you're going to water down this product in the regular season games, Reed. You're going to have to start load management. And
I don't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with being, what would it be, 16? Where we at 12 right now, and the first four get a bye.
Yeah.
If you get to 16, I think you're still playing
17 game season.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Kerry, hey, listen. I know that you'll go out there and play for free, but I'm gonna let you know right now.
They're not playing for free now.
Smoke ain't playing for free.
They're not playing for free there.
No.
They're not playing for free.
No. I'm telling you, but what I'm telling you is that now you got me during spring, and I got to do these daggone workouts, like off-season training workouts. In the league, what do you get for off-season, Kerry?
You get paid.
Good.
So, not a lot, but you get paid. Depending on your contract, you might get a.
Okay. You remember when I told you that I didn't want you to do my math because you're one of them old school dudes that, man, give me that $100. I'm one of these new school dudes that, hey, put it in my contract, $500,000 for workout bonus.
That's what I said. It depends on who you are.
There you go.
You get the workout bonus.
So when you look at it and you seeing teams starting to not have spring games and going into the organized team activity model of the NFL, kids aren't getting paid to practice during the spring.
Well, we got to be honest though too. We can't mix issues because those spring games are being canceled because teams don't want to put their players on television because of tampering.
Well, no, wrong.
And because you got guys transferring.
No, hey, listen, fellas.
People to have a spring game.
That is the biggest crock of crap that anybody can shoot at you. I've been a general manager at the P4 level. I've never once said, "Hey, listen, give me that TV copy of the spring game so I can check out that left tackle versus that walk-on defensive end that is 6 foot."
Yeah, they told me. I'm going to say this: you're not coaching in college currently, so there's not really a big thing. But they said you were so thorough that you already had your guys at the games in their cars waiting to pick up the transfers that were leaving and coming to you.
They hit the portal.
Hey,
Reed, you already had the limousines parked outside of the dorm rooms in the apartments.
I have historical reports on these guys already. So a spring game and you in your spring game, that's not going to make me no way want to go after, because most of the time during the spring game, it's the quickest whistle. It's a quick whistle that the head coach has, and rarely is a tackle down to the ground, and it's a running clock. And a lot of it is the simulated situations, and it's out there just for a couple of your good players aren't going to play, but we're going to say he's going to go for 2 series. You're going to go for the other 2, and then we're done for the day. And it's really a walk-on fest. So whoever told you, Reed, and asked you and wanted you to start believing this, it's a lie. I'm not watching anybody's third-team linebacker in order to evaluate him and put him in the portal. Nasty work, bad work.
We got a question right here from Juan. He says, how many centers did you tamper with when you were working in the front office, Smoke?
Centers? You talking about the guys trash can on wheels? Agile with legs? I shot. Hey, Reed, how about this? I'm trying to drive the point home to you. I'm not saying all of them are bad. There's some that are good. But who would you say in the last 10 years is the best center in the world?
The last 10 years?
Yeah.
Jason Kelce.
Jason Kelce. And I sent you over a video that Jason Kelce told you that as a walk-on, and he was a linebacker. Okay? They begged him to play center. And he damn near quit. Okay? So as much as you guys want to say, Smoke is you, it's not me. Even the guys that played center didn't want to play center. He was like, man, I don't know if football is really for me. You asking me to play center and I'm a linebacker? That's the worst position that you can ask me to play. But again, I'm going to sit back and have you guys tell you dog food and a whole bunch of other stuff. We just told you I'm a trash can on wheels. That's it.
If he played linebacker, we wouldn't know who he is today, though.
There you go.
Oh, so you're saying that the position that's so important that if he played something else, you saw him at the combine, he's on like 250 pounds running. You saw that? I sent that over to you as well. His workout numbers.
Listen, playing center We're not gonna have this debate, but it's the toughest
Yeah.
position to play in.
It's easy, man. It's just like the fullback, Kerry. Listen, it's an honor and a prideful position, but they had to force you to do it.
Hey, Smoke, I had teammates. Look, I had teammates that got moved from tailback to fullback. They wouldn't put their hand in the dirt. They wouldn't do it. Once you put your hand in the dirt, you're done. Hey, I'm in a 2-point stance in the backfield at fullback. I'm not putting my hand on the ground.
So, Reed, like I said, so
You're
when you
not
look
wrong.
at it, it goes, I told
Most
you guys
fullbacks get moved from tailback. It ain't very
a
many.
few weeks ago, and you guys told me I was crazy. I said, old school, nobody wants to be the Mike, because the Mike, the only way other way down is center. And if you're running back there, they say, you know what? He's not that quite elusive, but he's still tough as hell. We give him the ball every now and then, play fullback. But then Kerry's like, hey, listen, bro, I'm one step away from being a trash can with that on wheels, man. I'm not putting my hand in the dirt.
I'm gonna be honest. I do know centers who snap the ball over the quarterback head on purpose.
That's
So they don't have to play it.
yes. Yes. Move me back to guard, man.
Yeah, they want to play guard. I will say that. So
Reed, you got to run around with and you say you talk to your girl and be like, hey, man, what position you play? Center. What? Hey, he plays center, y'all.
And Kerry did do everything he could to get people to move him to tailback. I'm telling you.
He lost weight.
Yeah, he did. I think he stopped eating meat for a while. Just
Right.
Became vegan.
Best I could get was being a single back. They wouldn't put no fullback in front of me, but I did play that single back a lot.
4 minute back. They even say, Kerry, you know what? You're gonna be the 4 minute back. He's like, all right. But you know,
I know how to say keep the clock running. And I'm
So-
gonna protect that.
How do y'all feel about teams now? They got to get down to 105. I mean, yeah, roster limit 105. Walk-ons pretty much out of the mix. A lot of guys gonna get cut.
What was it when we were in college? Wasn't it 105?
110.
85?
I think it's like 110.
110.
When we were in college?
Yeah, 110, and they moved it up to 120. And the reason why they did that, Kerry, again, it was player safety. Just like when they created the OTA model after Corey Stringer passed away, we started giving acclimation periods to ramp up how much we had to go and what the intensity of practice should be.
Right.
I'm against it just because I know they're trying to cut costs somewhere, and cutting costs is with players. But for me, it's player safety, man. I believe you should be able to have the amount of backup so guys don't have to take a ton of reps. And the pace that college football is going at, when you have no huddle, and you have to simulate that. You can't simulate playing fast by using 60 guys on offense. Can't do it. That's the reason why it never worked in the NFL, because you just wear down by the end of the year. And if you're increasing games and creating one more playoff game, then in the Big Ten and in the SEC, you got to create a 9-game conference schedule. Like now, the wear and tear on your athletes is going up. Like the injury margins shooting up. So where and when are we going to start thinking about 18 to 19-year-olds being able to handle the load of practicing with high intensity, working out with high intensity, and always being in shape?
Is it in addition to that? What about the opportunities in the roster spots lost for players?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the walk-on that could come in and do a decent job in year 3, earn a scholarship just through hard work and dedication, that's almost gone because like you can't afford them because you got to pay for those. Like the allotment that you're getting from the rev share, there's a couple of ways if a general manager want to divvy that up. You can either pay your players they're on the roster and just call it salary, or you can use the allotment that your AD gives you and go get the 20 players and really good walk-ons and create scholarship opportunities. So I'm interested to see how these general managers break down their salary cap and who they do pay.
Kerry, what's your thoughts on the roster reduction?
No, I agree with the player safety aspect of it. Like it does matter. It's hard in the NFL. It's hard when you got 53 guys when we were playing and 8 guys on practice squad, and you're trying to have a complete practice and go through all of those things. And you got guys missing time because they're injured, so they're not practicing on Wednesday. They're not practicing on Thursday. They'll be there for the walkthrough, kind of the abbreviated practice on Friday and the walkthrough on Saturday. But you got guys that might be starters that got to do some scout team for the starting defense. I've been one of those guys.
It sucked. Say it, Gary.
It's not a great thing.
Our team suck. Our team suck.
Suck, bro. You run every single rep, like for you on offense, because the fullback not practice that week, or the running back that might not want to take these reps. So, hey, Kerry, go take his. And you start like, man, I'm doing real well. There's a chance that I might get activated. Then the linebacker don't want to play, so you got to go put on that jersey, put it on and be the mic. And then when you go on special teams, you have to do every single rep. So your load is higher than anybody's in terms of reps. And then you go to Sunday, and then you're in the nice sweats on the sideline. When you get that check, the thing ain't as nice as everybody else, but you put in the same work. So, Kerry, that was one of my things, like, got me away from playing. I'm looking at, like, cats. I'm like, bro, I'm working as hard as these cats, doing way more, and I think that I'm better. And it started working on my mind, bro. Right. And I said, you know what? Once I start counting checks and counting other guys' check, it's time for me to walk away. And that's what happened to me when I got away from it.
This is a good question from Juan. Will the talent go up at D2, D3, NAI because guys left Division One? I think slightly, but I think it'll be some guys who don't even want to play when they go down.
Reed, you said it, bro. Reed, you said it.
That's Kerry, I talked about, bro. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of kids that don't really want to play football.
Yes.
Unless they're playing at the D1 level. Like, if they not going to Alabama or Georgia,
Michigan, Ohio State,
Indiana, even if they had, so they in the MAC, they at Ohio or Kent State. Like, if they gotta leave and go play D2, they don't want to play football. They got to go to the FCS level. They realize very quickly, like, damn, you know what? Whew,
I don't love it this much.
That 5 a.m. come early, man.
When they get on that bus instead of that flight?
What? Nah, Coach, you know what? It's actually not something I really want to do.
Hey, Kerry, how about you're a walk-on, right? And you playing up there up north, and it's cold out there. I don't know how y'all did it, because that's one of the reasons why I didn't go to school up north. Yeah, like, you got to walk in that daggone snow, knowing that ain't no way that you're going to be the fullback in front of Kerry Davis. And you out there running bag drills, all these drills, just to throw up and get your face knocked off by the linebacker, just to look at everybody in the stands with your jersey on. Listen, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go to class. I'm playing for this anyway. No bueno.
Now, wait a minute.
I don't love it that much.
They're going to get their degree out of it, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about the walk-ons. I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the walk-ons. But even the ones that Kerry's talking about. Kerry, you and I have both played, and Reed as well too, with guys that hated football. Hated it.
Yeah.
The only reason why they played because they were big and their dad probably played or their uncle played and pushed them towards it. Now that you're giving them a reason, like, man, you don't really have to, like, Dad, they only giving out like 85 scholarships. I mean, why don't you just go ahead and let me pay for school and I'll just go to school and I don't have to pay. I don't have to play any football. Some guys be like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'm telling you, Rita, there's like, the walk-on pro,
Football ain't for everybody, man.
No.
Like, it's okay. Like I said, some people fall in love with the glitz and the glamour. And I was watching a video the other day. I should have sent it to y'all. It was a guy recording. They was in the locker room after a 5 a.m., 6 a.m. workout. And we've all been there. Buddy just staring off into space. Like, it's one of them moments where you like, man, I'm going to quit, man. Like, I ain't got nothing else to give. Like,
that 5 a.m. workout.
Man, that's what separates you. Like, that's
the only thing that motivated me was I was thinking I'm going to the league. I need this bread. That's the only thing that kept me going. It wasn't, man, I love this feeling. No.
Don't nobody love that.
I can get this money.
Nobody.
And if there was no
that.
carrot dangling at the end of that, yeah, I ain't doing it either. I don't got that much thirst for it. No dice.
So let me ask you this, right? So we got the transfer portal. It's about to open back up here in the spring. We got roster reduction, right? If you are in the class of 26 right now, that means you're a high school junior going into your senior year. If you're in the class of 26 and you're not a national recruit, and so when we talk national recruits, we're talking the top 200 guys in the country. So you're outside of the top 200 in the country, and you have a committable offer. Should you commit? Right.
Yes.
Yesterday.
I don't know what you're waiting on.
Yeah, yesterday. Reed, I'm talking about.
You should have called him now.
You wouldn't even have to ask me how fast am I putting commitment to that. Reed, I'm gonna break you off. I'm gonna put you in a whole nother conversation. When I was working for the Buffalo Bills, my good friend Jim Monis and I used to have like a bet. Who could sign the contract the fastest whenever we got extensions or re-upped? Reed, I'm telling you, I probably signed that contract in 0.5 seconds. And here's the reason why. I didn't have any grounds to negotiate. Now, if I had another team that wanted to give me another contract, yeah, I can sit back and be like, well, I don't like what line 6 says. I want to get 75% of the playoff bonus instead of 50%. Now, you don't got nobody with nothing else coming, Reed? Yeah. I was like this. Thank you. And I ran up, I shook my man's hand, gave him a big hug and said thank you. Same way that I would do if I was one of those kids that's just in that realm of being a scholarship kid. I'm calling the head coach, and I'm saying, Coach, listen, I can't wait to be a Badger, a Panther, a Bulldog, a Raccoon, or whatever. I can't wait to show up. I'm going to be the best player that you have on your roster. I'll be in class, and you tell me when's the next time I got to pull up and tell me exactly what I need to do moving forward to make sure that I'm staying in your good graces, that I still have this committable scholarship. Nothing else. Don't play hardball.
You wouldn't say, I need a little more NIL money.
No, I'll earn that when I get there. And that's what I'm saying. I just told kids, like, that's going to drive me. That bread right there, yeah, you're going to drive me. That's when I'm going to get up at 5. If workouts at 5 o'clock, yeah, I'm up at 4:15, ready, rocking in my chair because I'm trying to go get that. Because I'm trying to impress everybody.
A lot of these guys playing around.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're not handling business correctly. And some of them don't have people that can help them handle business correctly.
Right.
And then some of them do have people that help them, and they stubborn and don't want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take a business mindset. You are the product. What you put on film is what people want. If you're not putting on good tape, they're not gonna want you. If you're asking for more money and you ain't done it at the collegiate level, you're probably barking up the wrong tree, unless you are one of those top 200 kids that Reed just spoke about. If you are an FCS talent, a group of 5 talent, that don't mean you can't play, man. That doesn't mean you can't play. And it doesn't mean that you're not being recruited properly. Somebody might have missed, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Go show them that they missed. Go show them that everything that I think I am, I don't just think it, I'm going to show you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be the best player on film every time you turn this tape on, to the point where y'all cannot ignore me. You got to see me. You got to play me. And then you got to pay me. But if you go into it with a mindset of, well, I'm better than him, and trust me, that is going to get you nowhere fast. It's going to be a long time. You're going to be beating your head against the wall trying to make something happen, and it's not going to work. And you're going to be the one frustrated, and they not going to care. So,
every contrary to what you believe, like, I was a solid football player in high school, but I only played 4 years of high school football. I've never played high school before that. And in that 99 class at Alabama, we were number 1 in the nation that year. I was probably the lowest ranked player in that class. Whatever that star is, that's what I was. But like you said, I just put feet to ground, cleat the grass. And I knew that when I came in, if it was 7 deep, I was the 7th guy. And by homecoming, I was the starting corner. By the 3rd game, I was the highest productive player on special teams, because there was no way that you're going to keep me off this field. So whenever anyone wants to ask about, I want more NIL money, the worst thing you can do is go to your boss or your coach and ask. I tell anybody, if I have to ask you for more and you know I'm deserving of more, understand that I didn't ask you. I already negotiated another deal with somebody else.
You know what guys got to realize too, and we talk about whether you love football or not. If you go FCS, Division II, NAIA, Division III, they still have 5 a.m. workouts there too.
No doubt.
Yeah, they still have 5 a.m. workouts there too. Like they're
And the
going
weights
to
ain't
ask
even
you
that clean like it everywhere. It's not the pristine palace of walking into somewhere and like, oh my God, this is great. No, the weights might be rusty. But guess what? 45 pounds is still 45 pounds. And that bar gonna move just like it's supposed to.
I'm gonna tell you, man, it's crazy. I made a post the other day because somebody asked me something about camps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I said was, you got to go to camp. Every time camps come up, you get a group of, whether it's high school coaches or trainers, maybe even some parents that say you shouldn't go to camp. We got a comment here from Chris Campbell. He says, what's crazy is Coach Reed told me to go take him to a mega camp as a freshman. Fast forward, his son is a 5-star kid at the University of Tennessee. Now, this is my thing on camps. When I first started coaching, or when we first started having big time guys or guys we thought were big time, in order to get them recruited, we had to take them to camp so they could compete.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you from, your local area, and we all got a lot of pride in where we from. Me and Kerry have a lot of pride in St. Louis.
In Detroit.
Smoke got a lot of pride in the DMV.
Jamaica.
But there's guys outside of that, right? You gotta go show that you can compete. And if you're scared or you discouraged, when you say, I went to this camp and nobody gave me opportunity, you probably didn't play well enough.
That's a lie.
Yeah, you probably didn't play well enough.
Reed.
You gotta go to camp.
Reed, listen. So I got my first offer at the University of Maryland camp by Coach Loxley. Kerry, you know, back in the day, you know, we used to get the newspapers, black and white newspaper.
Yeah.
And if it was the Gazette, if it was the Digest or News or whatever times, they usually, and they typically have like the top players in your area. So I was one of those maniacs. So I used to write down the names, right? And I'd call, hey, Coach Lox, is such and such going to be up there? He'd be like, yeah, all these guys going to be at the camp. For real? Okay, cool. And if it was in the top 10 receivers, I would position myself in line to go against 1, 2, 3, 4. And if the fish was out there, we all know the fish is the guy that's not good enough. I'm stepping away. Like, you can go ahead and get some. But I wanted good on good. And whoever they said that was a 5-star, that's who I wanted all the smoke from. And I gave it to them.
Right.
So if you're going to a camp and you're the last one in the line and you have an opportunity to go good on good, and I've been there where we set the matchups that we wanted, you can easily bump me out the way and say, nah, Coach, let me get some of that. And I'm going to say, you know what? You want to jump up here? You want to be froggy? But leap in. Get some. So if you go to a camp and you walk away not receiving a scholarship, or you're in conversation for a scholarship offer, it might not be committable at that time. Yeah, that was on you. Because you had the same opportunities as everybody else that showed up that day to leaving a lasting impression on that staff.
And you and to your point, Smoke, you gotta be hungry enough to go take what you believe is yours. You waiting on somebody to hand you something, you're just gonna be waiting. Like if you really think you can compete with some of the best players, show it. Like quit. The thing about this sport, man, is if you're not aggressive, and I'm not talking about being arrogant or being an a-hole. I mean just being aggressive by nature. Like this is my opportunity. I'm going to capture it when my moment is presented. Nobody's handing you anything. And that's what football is. You got to go take what you want and work hard at it. And if you're not willing to do that, good luck, man. You're not going to have a good time.
No, it ain't cut out. This ain't for you.
It's going to be hard for you to be successful in this sport. So when you go to them camps, and I would, call, we have camps here, mega camp. My kids would go, and I'm watching them. and they're not getting no reps. Well, nobody let me. Yeah, this kid done had 15 reps. You ain't getting You ain't had nothing in you to say, hey, man, watch out, bro. I'm up next. Like, you're not going to stop him?
And it ain't 4 guys who won't do that.
Right. Reed, listen.
That's on you.
I give anybody the secret sauce. When you show up to all the camps, right? For me, when I was running camps at University of Maryland, everyone got height and weight. And I came through and I looked at the hot list. I said, if there's anyone that jumped off in the height and weight category that we don't have on our radar, highlight them, please, and give me the card. And I took that card and I made sure that I got our camera guys and we walked around and I made sure I spotted those guys. And I just wanted to see what was your next step after that. You came in big, fast, big, test well, good. Now I'm going to take you out of the group that you started out in. I'm going to put you in the good group where all the good players are. And I want to see now, are you going to rise or are you going to stay at the same level? If you go out there and compete, I'm writing that name down. And then when I go get Coach Locks upstairs, and Coach Locks, here's the hot list of the 15 guys. And I took them around. And if we only had 14 that was really good, but that young guy just jumped in there, yeah, coach, that's the next one. That's how we found Malik Washington. That's how we first found
Malik Washington's special, too.
He's different, bro.
Special. So you said something at the very beginning. You said height and weight. We got an Instagram comment from Harith Mitchum. Harith coaches with the East St. Louis Flyers national program, always has big-time prospects. And he made a comment that said it all starts with the measurables. I think a lot of times when kids go to these camps, you can't teach a guy to be 6'5", 330,
no.
Right? You can't teach a guy to be 6'6", 245, or a guy that's 6'1", 175 and runs a 4'4",
4'5", yeah,
electric in that time. So as a coach, and you and I talk about this all the time, Smoke, putting guys on the stopwatch, getting the true measurables. When we're talking about the levels of football, really break down for the people how important those size and speed measurables are.
Well, just like I said, if you have 1,500 kids at a camp, it's hard to sit there and get eyes on everybody. So what jumps out first is the tallest, the biggest, the fastest, the more explosive ones. And that's how we start our identification of level of play. So if you go to a camp and you say, nah, you know what, I don't want to get measured. I don't want to run. And like that's you have no real reason for being there. Because the way that you separate yourself is the way that you look. And after I look at you and say, damn, that's a big dude. Now I want to see you move around. So I'm going to put you on the clock. I'm going to put you on the broad jump. I'm going to put you in the short shuttle. I'm going to put you in the L drill to see now your quickness, seeing how quick you can react. And I want to see your explosiveness when we do a vertical. So that's what separates. And even if you're a really good football player, and I heard you said this, Reed, and he's only 5'10", but a real good football player, cool. You might not scratch the surface in the measurements, in the eye test part. But then when we stop this, we're going to go to one-on-ones. Now you have another opportunity to now impress. And then once that's over, I'm going to come over and have a conversation with you. While you're getting coached one-on-one and hard coaching, and I want to see you mess up in the drill and get corrected. And how do you take coaching upon that? So it just doesn't stop at height and weight for me. It now goes to on the field. And once we finish on the field, I want to see how you're able to get coached and what my coach is saying to you. How well do you apply this new technique that you've never done in this one-on-one setting or 7-on-7 setting?
You know, when you look at the measurables and how we start breaking it down, in this day and age, if you go to FCS or D2, you can play well enough to come up. I got guys who've told me they felt disrespected because they went Division II and then they never got on the field there. You know, I mean,
so you were good enough to get there, but you're not good enough to play.
Yeah.
Make that make sense to me. If you think that you're better than that,
Division I player.
Yeah. If you if you're supposed to be at that level, and it's okay. Everyone's not cut out to be Kerry Davis. Everyone's not cut out to be Carl Reed. Everyone has a level that they have to play at. But again, like you said, if you go Division I AA, FCS, you can still go and play at South Dakota State and perform at a high level.
Yes,
You can go to North Dakota State and perform at a high level and get either drafted, top 5, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Or you can transfer up and do what you need to do.
Cody Schrader.
There you go. Like there's
Y'all, hey man, y'all gotta stop this. Y'all making too much sense. Y'all doing too much and y'all making too much sense. It's too much hard work, Smoke, Reed. That's too much work to do for me to start at Division II or NAIA. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I just show up at the Division I campus and get what I deserve? Y'all making too much sense, man. Stop that. Stop telling me I gotta work hard, Smoke. Reed, that's nonsense. I don't want to work. I want to get what I'm supposed to get.
You want it right now, too.
Somebody told me I'm supposed to have. Y'all want me to work. I don't want to stop. All right. You make your point is not working here.
You know, the camp aspect and working hard and going.
Yeah, I don't want to hear all that, bro.
If they said it's a 5-star and you're a 3-star and you had the opportunity to go against a 5-star and put work to 5-star, you don't want that either. I got it.
He ain't really a 5-star because I don't think he is. So if I really want to do it, I do it. So yeah.
And I want to go in on this because it is NFL Combine time too.
Mm-hmm.
So we talking about competing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kerry, I remember when you were coming out the University of Illinois, you were one of the top fullbacks in the country, top 2 or 3. And they didn't invite you to the Combine, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still found your way on an NFL roster and played for several years, won a Super Bowl. To me, that's almost the equivalent of these guys that are going to camps, because people would say that you won't be in the league if you don't get invited to the Combine, but you proved that wrong. Talk to the young people and their parents for a second about the mindset it takes to compete and earn your spot on the football team.
Dark world.
Everything you got to go to a dark place. And I remember when them guys got drafted before me, when I went undrafted, I remember their names. I knew who they were. I knew what school they went to, and I knew I was going to have a better career than them. That was me. When I didn't get invited to the combine, I remember, I won't say his name, but I was a fullback that we played against that year, and we were cool. He was like, yeah, I got my invitation to the combine. I'm like, mine must be in the mail then. They must be, you might be a little bit closer to where they sent it from. You got your mail a little early. I know mine on the way. And it never came. And I'm like, man, what? So you just have to have a mindset, man, like I'm going to outwork. I'm going to do everything I can. And it was frustrating for me. You know, I worked my butt off that off season to get prepared for the combine or pro day and all of that. And the times that I was hitting, you know, I felt like if I would have been at the combine as a fullback, I would have probably had better times than every single fullback that was there in the short shuttle, in the L drill, in the forward. Like I knew that I was going to do that, but it was unfortunate I didn't get invited. And so I knew my pro day, I had to show up and show out. And so you still get that opportunity. And then you get invited. I went undrafted. Like you said, Reed, I was the number 2 fullback preseason going into that year. Mm-hmm. I had my knee surgery that I told y'all about, and I missed so much time, missed 3 games, and wasn't really right until week 7 or 8 after playing in the first game. So part of it, if I look back on it, that's why I said if I could do it again, I wouldn't have played in that game. I'd have sat out. But even still, going into that year, I was number 2. I should have been number 1. And I knew going out of that season, I was one of the best fullbacks. I missed 3 games. I had 49 catches. Like, that's what I do. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to catch the ball out the backfield. I'm going to run the ball. I'm going to pass protect. And I'm going to run block. And so going into that training camp, going into that pro day, I just knew I had to take care of my business. And once I get an opportunity, that's all I need. Give me an opportunity. Don't expect nothing from nobody. Because the moment you start expecting somebody to give you something, you're not going to get it. And you have to have a mentality that you will work. You're never satisfied. And it don't matter what other people say. You still got to put in the work and you still got to show up and show out.
Reed, you know what? I got a crazier story. But, Kerry, anyone that's been undrafted like you and I, and you have to go through everything, especially those camps back in the day, mm-hmm. and those preseason games that you played every single rep and specialty and was sucking on the oxygen mask on the sideline, and those vets looking at you like, man, give me we ain't gonna, you got to do this. But Reed, I remember after my second year, I had an opportunity to sign a reserve future contract with the Detroit Lions. And I called my agent, I turned it down. And he was like, this is the dumbest thing you could ever do. What are you going to do? I said, you know what? I want to get into the supplemental draft for NFL Europe. And I said, if I can't go over to Europe and play well enough for a team to really sign me that wants me, yeah, I think my time is up in the NFL. And I really meant that. Because I'm coming from a 4-year start at Alabama to, like you just said, Kerry, hanging here for a week, hanging there for a week, getting cut, last guy out. I was like, man, this sucks. I'd rather not play and go somewhere where I thought I was going to be, a good player. So I got drafted the first overall pick by the Scottish Claymores. Bro, when you said you went into a dark place, dude, I went to 0 dark 30. And I played my tail off over NFL Europe to where I took the spot from another guy that was allocated by the Buffalo Bills on my own team. And John Guy dropped that contract from him, cut him, and signed me after our last game. And I had about 15 teams lined up willing to sign me. But like you just said, Kerry, you have to put yourself in a situation where it's either now or never. And if you never put yourself in that mode, we just sat around here and played around earlier this year, but earlier on in the pod, but you and I both know to make it to where we've made it, I don't even care if it's college, you have to go into that dark place where it's you against everybody. And when that somebody shows up, you got to say, not here, not today. And I know you ain't better than me. I don't care what star or what place they have you in. You ain't it. I tell anybody, put me in a competition against anybody. There's not a lot of time that I didn't come out as a champion. And that's just me.
Kerry, before we get out of here, we got a comment from Brooke Grimsley on our Instagram page. She said she just hopping in to say hello. And the SEC just means more Kerry Day.
And I love Brooke was my co-worker. We worked together on the opening drive. Brooke, you know that SEC is how you spell second. You can't spell second without the SEC.
This year and last year, you're right.
SEC, and that's who's second. They ain't first. And if you ain't first, you're last. You heard Ricky Bobby? We care about being winners around here, man.
And you can put decade in there too, because that's what the SEC did for a while, Kerry.
Before we get out of here, all the high school coaches, college coaches watching, go to coaches-portal.com. Subscribe. Use the code CoachReed for coaches by coaches. All right. And we don't have a sponsorship yet for Smoke and Kerry for their bald heads. Brandon's not with us today. Brandon had a basketball event he had to be at today. All right. And
hey man.
Clean shave.
You feel me?
Hey, Reed, listen. You know what? No knock, all right? But and then you got a full head of hair, like a strong, but it's Santa Claus right now. You know what I mean?
You need some just so we can get that.
A lot of salt up there, not a lot of pepper.
You think I need to Beijing it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just 20-second timeout. Listen, don't listen to Kerry. A real man never Beijings.
That's what
I would Reed. You and I couldn't even talk. Like I couldn't look you in the eye anymore.
No, he done did it in his own house just to see what
Lord.
Oh, don't do me like that.
He washed it out before he left.
Kerry, he's sleeping like this because he don't want to
get like this.
Hey, when we were in high school, this is a true story. So I used to have a bald head. Kerry will tell you that, but he doesn't know why I got it the first time. Remember the old Hawaiian silky kits?
Yeah.
I put a Hawaiian silky kit in my
head. Left it in too long.
No. Big Reed came home and saw it. And he was gonna cut my hair off with a butcher knife. He wasn't going for it. I had to shave it out. He wasn't going for it.
He
Big
wanted
Reed.
he wanted to lay down.
Y'all know how Big Reed is, man. He just, I might have him on the show one day. He do too much though. You know how he is.
He want Carrie. They told she told him that his hair would look better if it was wavy. So
And
he got the white.
You know that's what it was.
They say it's undefeated. Hey, we out of here. Hey, enjoy yourself Monday night. Hey, listen to this before you get out of here. Steve Smith, 50 Cent, Rick Ross, Big Meech. Cut it out.
Man, Reed, stop it. Leave them people alone, man.
Knock it off. All right. Enjoy your Monday night.
Be good.